It's Kobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this video breakdown, we're going to take a look at a play out of the dime rush formation that showcases a stunt that I have not shown before that allows the defense to get pressure from the right side of the offensive line with multiple defenders. The name of the play that we use for this video breakdown is the Dime Rush Foxfire Zone Press. Here's a look at the playbooks you can find this play out of. We're going to feature the Seattle Seahawks playbook. Before I show the multiple blitz setups out of the Dime Rush Foxfire Zone Press, let's take a look at the default pass coverages and pass rush assignments for this defense. Now, as you look at it, you can see it is a cover 3 defense, so this is going to feature 6 defenders that are actually going to be dropping back into pass coverage. You got 3 defenders that are going to be playing the deep zones as you look at your screen. So you got those 3 defenders playing the 3 deep zones right there. And then you're also going to end up having 3 other defenders that are going to be playing some type of zone coverage underneath. So you got these 2 defenders right here as you look at it playing the seam flats. And then you have this edge rusher. Now he's going to actually sneak back there into a 3 receiver hook. So he's the other defender is actually going to drop back into pass coverage right there. So this is really a zone blitz as you think about it, because you're going to end up having one of the defensive linemen, in that case that edge rusher I just mentioned, dropping that 3 receiver hook. And then you're going to end up having these 5 defenders that are going to be rushing the quarterback. So let's go ahead and take a look at these 5 defenders right here that are going to be coming after the quarterback. So there they are. So if you were to run this play as this, which I'm going to go ahead and show you, you're not going to end up getting a whole lot of pressure unless this guy on the outside, generally it might be this guy right here, this dime back that's going to be coming off this edge when he blitzes. Now he may get some pressure on the quarterback on occasion. Now you may also find that this guy here may sneak through this A gap, but don't guarantee, it's not anything guaranteed. I just want to show those are the 2 defenders that may sneak through and get some pressure on the quarterback. What I want to do right now is go ahead and run this play and take a look at it, and you'll see what I mean as far as with this blitz, as far as the way it works. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what happens as far as getting that pressure on the quarterback here without making any pre-snap adjustments. So there you go right there. You get that pressure from the outside without making any pre-snap adjustments. Now what I want to do now is I want to go back into it and start showing some multiple blitz setups, and I'm going to use a stunt that I haven't shown before that's going to allow you to get some pressure on the right side of the offensive line. Before I show the multiple blitz setups out of the Dime Rush Foxfire Zone Press, let's take a look at a few things that you need to do before we get too far into the breakdown. Now, the very first thing you want to do is make sure that you have the auto flip a defensive play called turned off. So make sure you do that. Matter of fact, pretty much any video that I do as far as blitz setups here on the Madden Guides YouTube channel, I pretty much have that turned off. Otherwise, I will let you guys know if I had it on, but pretty much any video, just figure on that it's turned off. The second thing I want to talk about is having a substitution here at the weak side defensive tackle position. So it's going to be this guy right here. And the player that I'm going to go ahead and sub in here, it's going to be Boye Mafe. And the reason I did that is because he is roughly about, I think, like a 90 or 91 speed. So the faster you can have a player lined up at that weak side defensive tackle, the better chance that you're going to get pressure on the quarterback with this particular setup I'm about to show. And then finally, the other thing I want to point out here is make sure you're using the right pirate 3-man. Now, I have not shown this as far as I know in any type of the video breakdowns that I've done so far for Madden 26. I've shown the left pirate 3-man, but I have not shown the right pirate 3-man. And if you watch the left pirate 3-man videos I've already shown, it's going to be very similar to that as far as getting pressure, but now we're going to do it off the right side of the offensive line. All right, now it's time to get into these blitz setups out of the Dime Rush Foxfire Zone Press. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you 3 setups that you can run from this particular defense that all basically look alike. The only difference is one's a 5-man, the next one's a 4, and then you got a 3-man pass rush. So we're going to start off with the 5-man pass rush. Now the design of this is to try to get my opponent to roll his quarterback out to the right side where he's going to be running into some multiple defenders. He's going to have a chance to bring him down as he rolls out to the right. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, I've already talked about make sure you guys have that stunt in here. Again, I've already mentioned it already once to you guys, but make sure you guys have the right pirate 3-man as far as the stunt, whether you do it to play call screen or once you get on the field. All right, now let's go ahead and get into this first setup with this 5-man pass rush. Now, What I'm going to show you is pretty simple as far as getting that pressure on the quarterback. So the first thing you're going to do is you want to go ahead and show blitz. Now, I want to mention this. The reason I want to mention this to you is you're going to notice as you look at your screen right here, these two defenders, when you do show blitz, it automatically brings them up looking like that. Now, if you look at this, your opponent's probably going to think this looks like a two deep type coverage. Looks like you got these two guys playing two deep. And then if we were to kind of zoom out a little bit out here on this outside screen here, as you look at it, you can see right here, you got this corner up here in press coverage. You got this corner down near the line of scrimmage here. Looks like a cover two type defense, right? I mean, it looks like cover two man. It can be cover two zone, but definitely looks cover two, even though this is cover three. So it's immediately, as soon as they come out of the play huddle, make sure you're going to go ahead and do that. That's the first thing you want to do. The next thing I want to point out that I like to do with this particular setup I'm going to show here is to call QB contain. So you can see right there, we've got QB contain. Now it's only going to be one defender that's in QB contain, which is going to be this guy right here. We'll talk about him more here in just a second. So that's the setup so far as you look at it. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take control of this guy right here. You don't want to bring him too far over. I like to bring him into this area here. Now, if you want to really try to sell this, as far as what I'm about to show, you could bring him to the outside of that left tackle. And the reason that you'd want to do that is because it's going to make your opponent thinking, hey, maybe he's having some type of pass rush coming off the edge. You know how a lot of guys like to use a linebacker and get a free rusher. In this case, it could be this guy right here coming off the edge by doing this. So it looks like my opponent might be thinking that this guy's going to fake rush this guy and all that, and then have that guy come off the edge. That's not what we're trying to do here. If you remember right, this guy's actually dropping back. We want to give him the illusion of this. This guy's actually dropping back into his own coverage right here. So that's the idea of that. Now, of course, if my opponent were to run some type of run play, maybe he runs the halfback draw from this particular formation, and then what would happen here is, and you can pretty well guess, that if that did happen, this guy's going to have a free lane to go right rushing through and pick up some positive yardage. So this would be a defense you're probably not going to want to run in a short yardage situation. You probably want to do it like a 3rd and 10, something like that, where it's a 3rd and long or something like that. So this is more of a, situational type defensive blitz that I'm showing here. All right, let's continue on with this as far as with the setup here and take a look at it from this point. So as I talked about earlier, what we're trying to do is give our opponent the illusion that we're bringing somebody off the edge right there. Now, if you remember right earlier, I talked about putting Moye right here. Sorry, not Moye, but putting Mafia right here lined up at the weak side defensive tackle position. Now, what he's going to do here is he's going to rush over here towards the right and work his way around and loop around, much like I showed with the left Pirate 3-man. He's going to do the same thing over here. He's just going to loop over to the right as you look at it off the offensive line. Now, we also got these two guys right here. These two defenders here, they're going to both be crashing to the inside here. So this guy's going to occupy the right guard, and then you got Lawrence right here, and he's going to occupy the right tackle. So these two guys are going to be occupied by those two defensive linemen. And then again, that's going to allow our defender right here, again, it's going to end up being Mafia right here. He's going to be able to loop around to the outside. And then finally, the other defender I want to talk about right here is the one that we put in QB contain, which is going to be Bryant. He's in QB contain right here as you look at your screen. So if our opponent was to try to roll out, he's going to run into at least 2 defenders, if not 3, because there's going to be one other defender you're going to probably end up seeing is going to get involved in this. And that's going to be Lawrence right there, if our opponent were to roll out here towards the right, which is what I'm going to have him do. Now, remember, when I showed this initially, when we were talking about this defense, that even if that quarterback doesn't roll out, more than likely, you're going to still get at least one guy in. Again, that's going to be Brian off the edge. I just want to point that out to you. But if that quarterback rolls out, he's going to be in a lot of problems right here. So let's go ahead and run this and take a look at it, and we'll see what we can show you here if you guys look at your screen. He's going to roll out. And right there, we get 2 guys right there. Sometimes you end up getting 3 guys, but right there, you got at least 2. So that's why I wanted to point out with you on that. So that's just one of the setups that you can run where you can get some pressure. But remember, this is just a 5-man pass rush. So what I want to do now is I want to go into a 4-man pass rush and show you guys how you can do a 4-man pass rush with this defense that's going to allow you to get some pressure on the quarterback. The 4-man pass rush I'm about to show here out of the dime rush, a Foxfire zone press, is very similar to the 5-man pass rush. We're just going to have one more defender dropping back into pass coverage. So let's go ahead and take a look at that as we do the setup. So again, it's the same thing I talked about earlier. Make sure you go ahead and show blitz. and then call QB contain. So there you go right there as you look at the setup right there so far. And then what you're going to do again is you're going to take control of this guy. I'm going to bring him back into this area here. And this time I'm going to put him into a hook curl. Now, the reason I want to do that is because I'm going to switch off to this defender right here. Now, remember, he's the one playing the 3-receiver hook. The idea of this is if my opponent was to say maybe he had this guy running a streak, then hopefully this guy will be able to drop back far enough, at least initially, to help take that away. Because he may be an option where my opponent could throw the ball to. By doing this with this guy, it's going to put him in a little better position. Again, keep in mind if this was a run play, you're going to get burnt. So I want to point that out to you. And then this guy right here, the one that I'm in control of now, I'm actually going to user control him. And what I'm going to do with him is I'm actually going to drop him back and take away anything over the short middle of the field. With this particular play, you got this guy right here, the running back coming out of the backfield. He's going to run that angle route. That would be somebody you might want to watch and try to take that away. So I want to point that out to you as well. So there you go with that setup right there. That's pretty much it. Nothing else we really need to do. And again, we're still trying to get that quarterback to roll to the right. If he doesn't roll to the right, he's still going to get sacked more than likely as long as that running back's going out by that by Brian out there on the right side who's in QB contain. Let's go and run the play here and take a look at this one, see what happens here. As you can see, we're going to roll the quarterback out. Again, we've got multiple guys coming after him. As you can see, you got 3 guys that are coming after him. Very, very hard for my opponent to try to get away from that particular play that I'm showing right there as you look at it. So let's go and take a look at this one as you look at it here on your screen right there. And you can see as you watch, you got that guy coming around and getting that pressure on the quarterback. So again, it's pretty nice as far as, definitely something you can run that's going to prevent your opponent from rolling out with a 4-man pass rush. So far, I've shown you how to do a 5 and a 4-man pass rush out of the dime rush, Foxfire zone press. Now what I want to show is how to get a 3-man pass rush that's going to allow you to get that pressure on the quarterback. Basically, same thing I've been showing, but it was just 3 pass rushers, and it's going to allow you to have 8 defenders dropping back into some type of zone coverage. So let's go ahead and get into it and show you how to set this one up. So it's basically the same thing that I've already talked about. Go ahead and show blitz and then also call QB contain as soon as they come out of the huddle. Make sure you do that. That way you give that cover 2 look as you look at your screen. And then what you're going to do here is you can do it a couple different ways. You actually can take control of this guy right here if you want. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hot route him into a hook zone. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to bring up the quick adjust as you look at your screen right there. And then I'm simply going to go ahead and put Williams into let's put him into a vertical hook to the right. Make sure he's going to the right side to the screen as you look at it, regardless of what coverage you call. Just make sure he's going towards the right as you look at it. So in the vertical hook to the right. Next thing you want to do is you want to take control of this defender right here, which is going to be Jones. You're going to move him back over in here, and then what you're going to do with him is you're going to hot route him into a hook curl, and that way he's going towards the left. And then you're going to switch off to this gentleman right there, and you're going to user control him into this area here. So what you want to do with him is once that ball is snapped, you're going to want to take away anything that's going over the short middle. For example, in this case, they've got the running back coming out of the backfield on this angle route. This would be a perfect example of somebody you might want to take away, because more than likely they're going to try to throw to him, especially when they see this blitz coming off the edge off the right side. They may look to throw to him. If you get in position, you might be able to pick it off. So let's go ahead and take a look at this a little more detailed here as I go ahead and snap the ball. Now, just remember, the idea of this, again, is to try to force my opponent to roll out to the right side with his quarterback by giving him this look as far as on the defensive side of things. So let's go ahead and run it and take a look at it and see what happens here as you look at it. So again, you can see we get those defenders coming after him. You can see right there, it's going to end up being a 3-man. Guys are actually going to chase him down. So what I want to do right here is, this is the one time I want to go into the X and O's of the play with this 3-man pass rush and kind of go a little bit more detailed so you guys can see how this is working as far as getting that pressure on the quarterback. Plus, we can look at the pass coverages. From the All-22 and instant replay, we can get a better idea exactly how the dime rush Foxfire zone press works from a 3-man pass rush standpoint, and kind of show you the design of this and kind of really get into the details of it. Plus, we can look at the pass coverages behind it. So let's go and take a look at this one. Now, as I pointed out earlier, what we're trying to do is get Mafe right here. We want him to loop around into this area here. So he's going to loop around Lawrence, and he's going to be in that position right there. And then to the outside of him, the other one that we really want to concentrate on is Bryant. Now, remember, we put him in the QB contain, and he's also going to be out here in this area here. Now, if the quarterback were to just say he was just to drop back, then Bryant is still going to get pressure on the quarterback. But if he were to try to roll out, which is what I've been showing here in this whole video breakdown for the most part. If you were to try to roll out here towards the right, then those guys are both going to be in position to definitely stack the quarterback. Now, the other cool thing about this particular setup that I'm showing here is you've got Lawrence right here, and what he's going to do is you look at your screen, he's going to actually seal the right tackle off, so that right tackle can't look to block either one of those guys. Remember, Lawrence is coming to the inside, and the other thing is going to end up happening. If that quarterback were to roll out, then Lawrence more than likely is going to be able to disengage, and he's also going to get involved in the party and actually be three different guys out here. So you're going to have three guys out here possibly could make a tackle on that quarterback or sack that quarterback. So that's the nice thing about that. Now, if we look towards the coverages as we watch through this, we've got this guy right here. And remember, I put him into a hook zone. So the idea of this, and I talked about this when I was showing the four-man pass rush, the idea of this would be to help defend maybe a seam route or something like that. Heck, if you wanted to, you could actually man him up and put him in man coverage. If you so choose, you could put him in man coverage on the slot if you wanted to. So a lot of things you could do right there with him. Or you can even put him into a curl flat if you wanted to. Something like here, maybe a curl flat, seam flat, whatever out here towards the left right there. If that's something else you might want to do. There's a lot of different things you can do with him as far as hot routing him. And then you got it. We're going to user control as you look at your screen here is. So what we're going to do with this guy right here is you look at it. We're going to drop him back into pass coverage here. We're actually going to stay in control of him. And remember, he's supposed to be playing this 3-receiver hook, but we're actually going to take control of him. And if our opponent was to have, say, this angle route coming out of the backfield, we're going to look to take that away, which we'll be able to do that and possibly get an interception. And then finally, we got this other defender, the one that we also hot routed into a vertical hook. He's going to be dropping back into this area here. Again, he could be in position maybe to take a quick hit to the tight end. Say the tight end was running this corner route out here. If they were to try to throw a quick pass, he could be in position for that. So you got a lot going on here as you look at it. And then plus you got some other defenders here as you look at it. You got that, remember we got that 3 deep coverage here. So you got these 3 defenders right here that are going to be playing 3 deep right here as you look at it. So you got those 3 defenders. And then plus you got 2 other defenders playing out here in these purple zones out here towards the right as you look at your screen right here. So you got this safety as well. So you got a lot going on here. You got this, as you look at this, if I was to go ahead and back and do all the illustrations here, as you look at your screen here, you can see all the different guys you got dropping back right here as you look at your screen. So you end up having, all these defenders right here as you look at it. So you're going to have multiple defenders dropping back into pass coverages, which is going to give you 8 defenders right there, which is really nice. It's going to make it very, very hard for your opponent to find anybody open down the field. All right, let's continue on with this as you look at it, and we'll go through the play in motion right there. Now, some of the things I want to mention here as you look at it, you can see all 3 of these guys, rushing the quarterback. You got, again, Mafe running, stunting around out to the right. You got this guy, Lawrence, coming in, crashing in, occupying that right tackle. And you also got this guy coming in as well. Now, right there, you can see right there, as they roll out here with the quarterback here, you can see he's rolling out here to the right. And then we got guys that are going to now be chasing him down. He's not going to have a whole lot of opportunity now to throw it down the field. And as we zoom out, look at the coverages right there. As you can see on your screen, there really isn't a opportunity for our opponent to really look to throw to anybody. There's, if you look at it, all these guys are covered here. As you look at your screen right here, this guy's covered right there, covered, definitely covered. The only one that, remember, I'm not user controlling that guy right now because I'm trying to control the quarterback as I'm rolling him out to the right. But if I were to drop this guy back, this one here, this is the one that I would be in control of, then what I could have done is I could have took that away. I want to point that out to you. So that's another thing that I want to show there as you look at it. But you can see right there, the coverages are pretty nice right here for the most part. And then right there, we end up getting those 3 defenders that are eventually going to be in position to make a sack on the quarterback as he rolls out. So that's nice right there as far as with this setup that I'm showing. Now, just keep in mind, the last thing I want to point out here, and I've already talked about this before, kind of mentioned it a couple times already in this video breakdown. If the running back if they were to call some type of draw here or some type of inside run play, you're going to get burnt. So just keep that in mind. It's be a defense that you wouldn't want to run if you think they're going to do that. Anyway, guys, this is a defense that you guys can run. It's going to allow you to get that looper coming around with the weak side defensive tackle by using that stunt called the right pirate 3-man. It's going to allow you to get pressure on the quarterback. On another video breakdown, I want to go in a little more detail with that because there's some other things you can run out of this particular formation with this particular stunt where you can turn it into a 2-man pass rush, very similar to the left pirate 3-man that I've shown already here on the Madden Guides YouTube channel. All right, guys, if you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe to the Madden Guides YouTube channel, I would appreciate it. You know, I really do go into the X and O's of the play, unlike any other YouTube channel that you might see as far as breaking down Madden. You know, this is what I like to do. I really like to get into it and kind of show you from a professional type look, especially something you might see on a, you know, on ESPN or NFL matchup, something like that. You know, I really get into the breakdowns here. My influences are, you know, especially from the NFL matchup show from the ESPN. John Madden obviously is a big influence for me over the years, and this is what I like to do, and I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. Again, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or definitely give me a like on the hit that button and give me a like. I'd appreciate that as well. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for more Madden Guides, strategy, and tips content. See you in the next video.